Northeast Ohio man missing since the mid-90s. Years later, his ex-wife disappeared too. Now, a new chance to crack open these cold cases. What happened to Melvin and Florence Shoemaker? Next week, cold case experts from across the country will get fresh eyes on their cases. Investigator Sarah Goldenberg gets an inside look at the challenges local detectives are facing.
It's a not-so-secret society you may have never heard of. The VDOC Society, based in Philadelphia. Dozens of cold case experts volunteer their time drumming up new leads for local detectives. Could this be what it takes to solve the disappearances of Melvin and Florence Shoemaker?
We'll go over the case and hopefully get some new life breathed into it and some other eyes on it.
Detectives from Geauga County and Portage County are teaming up to present their cases.
I think it's going to be a great thing, and hopefully they can help us in some way.
The disappearances of Melvin and Florence have stumped detectives for decades.
So these are old newspaper clips from when they did different searches and whatnot.
May 1994, Parkman Township. A concerned neighbor called the Geauga County Sheriff's Office. He hadn't seen Melvin Shoemaker, 71 years old, for a while.
Everything at the house seemed to be in order. His cars were there, his personal effects were there, his clothes were there.
Nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
There did not appear to be any sign of a struggle or any kind of foul play, but just that he had miraculously disappeared.
Melvin lived alone. He'd been divorced from Florence since 1978. She lived with their adult son, Glenn, about 15 minutes away in Portage County.
His son has not been very cooperative and given several different explanations as to where his dad could be.
Investigators learned Melvin was a quiet guy who lived a simple life, a welder who had saved up a lot of money. Detective Don Seaman with the Geauga County Sheriff's Office picked up the case decades later.
He was a hard worker, worked hard, saved a lot of money, had a sizable amount of money in different investments, bank accounts at the time of his disappearance.
Melvin had nearly $1 million in the bank. A search warrant showed where he spent some of that money, but not much else.
We did find numerous guns, ammunition, nothing to indicate any kind of foul play. He was just gone.
Countless interviews with neighbors, family, and friends at the time turned up no clues. Time passed and still nothing. Until about a decade later, detectives made a shocking discovery.
So they were looking to get a DNA sample from Glenn Shoemaker, Melvin's son, and Florence's son, and Glenn was not very cooperative.
Detective Trent Springer with the Portage County Sheriff's Office says they wanted to see if Florence could help.
No one had seen Florence for upwards of 2 years, so we're talking 2003. The last few times people had seen Florence, her health had been deteriorating. She needed help moving. She was not well kept.
And with that, they filed a missing persons report.
So she, like her husband, just seemingly just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Coming up, what happened to Florence? Plus, a person of interest in the case. We have the latest on where the investigation stands tonight at 5. Sarah Goldenberg, 19 News.
Okay, Sarah. Well, if you have any information in Melvin or Florence Shoemaker's disappearances, call the Geauga County Sheriff's Office or the Portage County Sheriff's Office at the numbers on your screen.